just getting everything all set up, you guys. This is my friend Raphael. You have probably met him, and we're talking about the Canon EOS RP today. But don't worry, we're gonna get into that. If anything, this is a little blooper action. LOL. Woo. Well, hello world. Asan Rose, entertainer, filmmaker here, just to give you guys some nice tips and tricks to up your game. So this is my friend Raphael.
How's it going, everybody? Good to see you guys.
Yeah, you may have seen me on his channel, and we actually met here at Canon Burbank about 4 or 5 months ago.
It was back in September, that's all I remember.
Okay, so September. The release of the Canon EOS R is actually one of the times we met. So today we're actually going to be talking about the Canon EOS RP, and to be honest, why I think people are giving it a pretty bad rap whenever it's a pretty decent camera.
It's actually a really good camera.
Yeah,
really good stills. But you know what? I don't know about you guys, but this camera is going to be a game changer for anybody that's starting to get familiar with cameras.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Especially diving into the mirrorless system. Someone who has, and I was talking to him about it earlier because we called and I was like, yo, we got to go talk about this camera. So the Canon EOS RP is definitely designed for those who have just had an 80D or an SL2 or an M50 or some one of those lower level, entry level cameras. They just want to upgrade to the full frame. Maybe they were making money with the SL2, or maybe they were making money with something like an 80D or a 70D, and they just want to upgrade into the full frame world and lighten their load at the same time. Some people don't care about video as much, and you hear all these YouTubers talking so much crap about like the RP, but it's not meant for you. And we were talking about it earlier, and we're like, we were looking around the web, and it was like, we have found no videos. Everybody's like, what does the P in RP stand for? Guys, it stands for photography. And
plain and simple.
It's it. It's just like the 5DSR, right? We talked about that earlier.
So one of the things that we were talking about, and actually Ace was the one that brought it up, is that, you know, when that 5DSR came out, it was a camera for photographers mainly, and not really videographers. And so we're living in a world today where everybody who's a photographer, videographer wants to have everything integrated. I have to admit that it is a nice thought, but you know what? Sometimes you really don't need video, or sometimes you really don't need to be shooting stills a lot. And the EOS RP is definitely one of those amazing cameras for beautiful photography. We actually had a chance to even take a couple of stills with one of the model that they have here at the Canon Center in Burbank. It takes amazing pictures. But you brought up a very interesting thing about the autofocusing, and that for me, I am most of the time, I will admit, using the autofocus even with my stills.
Same, all the time.
So it does take just a little bit of adjusting with using the autofocus button. But other than that, amazing photos.
Yeah, man, I agree. Like our hands-on was pretty nice. I got the chance to try it just a tiny bit before him. So before he was here, I was practicing around with it and with the autofocus, and it does take some time, even as a Canon user myself. I've had a T3i, an SL2, and a 6D Mark II now. I've tried the EOS R when it came out. So, and I've tried some Sony cameras along the lines, the FSF. I tried a whole bunch of random.
Can't say that I've tried Sony's. Sorry.
So he's out of that boat, but
sorry, I am a diehard Canon fanboy. Right. I'm sorry, that is just me. But you know what? I have nothing wrong with the Sonys. I have nothing wrong with Nikons. It's just Canon is my go-to.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with like being a fan of either or. And I think at this point, Canon is not dropping the EOS RP to compete with anyone else except for themselves. They're literally dropping this camera just to compete with themselves and their own market. They know somebody along the lines that has a 6D or SL2, one of those cameras is going to want to upgrade, and they're not going to pay $2,000 because they don't use video so much. They don't care about 4K, 10-bit, 222, blah, 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 blah. They don't care about that. All they want to know is maybe the product photography that they're taking at their business, they want to take it to the next level, or they're like, what's the next camera that we can get? And people keep talking about the lenses, and yes, the 35mm lens is like $500, and it's the first RF lens you can get that's native, but I'm pretty sure that almost every place that's offering right now has it where you get the adapter as of right now for free with a lot of them. So why not grab yourself a 50mm lens, and now you have a solid full frame camera that you have something to do basic stuff with.
And a lot of this glass that Canon has already released from years back, they are still amazing pieces of lenses, amazing glass. They last a long time, which is one of the reasons why if you look at certain lenses, even after so many years, they still hold a very high value. even at a used price. You know, you go to any camera store, or even if you buy it off of somebody like on Letgo, OfferUp, they're still selling these lenses pretty high up there. The glass that that Canon creates are amazing lenses, and although the RF lenses are going to be amazing and very popular lenses very soon, you can definitely still use a lot of the EF lenses.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think even with those adapters, you can use the EFS lenses too. So that opens up the possibility to getting, you know, something smaller. And I'm not sure if it auto crops like the EOS R, but still, I just want to put it out there. The P stands for photography. Stop complaining, YouTubers. It's not for you. Okay, yes, you wanted a $1,300 full frame camera that does 4K and blah blah blah. They just released the R. With all the bells and whistles and red carpet, they're not gonna.
And you know, it's also kind of like how you said, a lot of the YouTubers that we're seeing, you know, these are people that have got some other kinds of amazing gear, and they're always saying that the gear doesn't matter, it's all about the person.
Oh my goodness.
So it's kind of like, well, are you really on board with what you're saying, or do you have, you know, some conflict within yourself?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. Like, if the gear really doesn't matter, then why does it matter so much that Canon released a $1,300 full frame camera that for a lot of beginners would be their first great camera? Who out there will be the next amazing photographer or videographer, because it does take video, even though it's 20, maybe they shoot slow motion, that's it, who cares?
That's exactly
it does
what
have
I
dual
was
pixel
telling
1080.
I was telling you.
Like, so maybe the next amazing photographer starts with that camera, and someone would have off-put them from buying it just because they have experience and they've used the greatest cameras, a 5D Mark IV and a Sony A7 III and all this other stuff, and you're gonna off-put people to buying a camera that could have changed their game up.
Right. And the other thing, guys, is that not everybody likes the cinematic look. That 24 frames per second, I do like it. Ace likes it. I think we both use it in our videos, but the reality is there are a lot of vloggers, or a lot of beauty channels, or a lot of different kinds of channels that really don't need the 24 frames per second
and that's
option.
a movie standard. A lot of TV shows are filmed at 30 frames a second. It's I mean, it's not just in, you know, it's mostly in film, and it's become really popular over years, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't use it, but in television, a medium is still 30 frames a second a lot of times. So honestly, does it really even matter that much? Honestly, if I film this at 60 frames a second, most of you wouldn't know the difference anyways. So, well, who cares? It's a $1,300 full frame camera.
Especially, again, if you're a beginner, or like you're just getting into photography, this is going to be a really good camera for you. This is going to be something that you're going to want to be investing in. You'll be very happy with for a while, and then once you get into more knowledge about cameras and gear, then you can go ahead and make that transition into getting something like maybe the EOS R, maybe a 5D Mark IV. You know, you name it. There's a lot of really great cameras. I know I'm naming a lot of Canons again. My favorite.
Yeah, it's true. but it is. But this camera isn't geared for people that are Sony users. It's not geared for people that are Nikon users. It's geared for people who are Canon users. It's geared for the person who had a Canon SL2. It's geared for the person that had a Canon 6D maybe and wants more technology but doesn't care about video. The 6D, I had that camera. It's phenomenal. And guess what? It was great at photos, but it was terrible at video. But if you were doing manual focus and you didn't care about it, then it did really good video. Yes, the 6D had 24 all-eye and everything else, but at the same time, it's a great video camera if you need it for manual focus. And I imagine that the EOS RP would do about the same thing. It's for someone who wants to dabble in it, but doesn't really care for it as much. But again, it's for the beginner, someone who wants to just get into it and really just excel and start a new journey with a full frame camera. So stop knocking it so hard. Even if you tried it, be like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Just say it wasn't the best camera for you, but maybe someone that's new would try it. A lot of you guys are experienced. Stop off-putting people to buying cameras that could be great for them. So the P stands for photography video, people. Remember, EOS RP for photography. Repeat it for me. Photography. So
I do wonder
no
what the R
more
stands
videos. What is the R? Revolution of photography?
Is
maybe?
it? I don't know. I mean, they did highlight that R in the word revolution.
So
maybe it's
revolution of photography, maybe. Of the low-end photo game. But either way. So, you guys, I want to say thank you to Raphael for coming on to my channel.
Me, man. Appreciate that.
Dude, you're the man.
Dude, you're the man, bro. Look at this guy.
Yo, thank you so much to Canon Burbank as well for letting us hold the EOS RP to just practice around, play around, get used to it, and I think it's a good system. At the end of the day, it's a comfortable camera. It's easy to hold. It's great to use, I thought,
Yeah.
especially from a beginner's perspective. If I thought about that, having that as versus my SL2, oh, I would have loved to have that camera because it's super slick. It's very lightweight. It goes on pretty much any gimbal. Like, what's not to really not genuinely like about it? It's okay. It's not the greatest camera you've ever seen, but it's a good starter camera. So, thanks again to Canon Burbank for letting us use it. And until next time, keep on shooting, you guys.
Catch you guys later.